Three terrorist situations. Florida man shot dead by the FBI. That has to do with the Boston terror attack. Also an update on the Benghazi situation. But breaking this afternoon, two Muslim extremists in custody in London, England, after they apparently hacked a British military man to death in the middle of the street. One of the suspects was interviewed with blood on his hands. Viewer warning, this is troubling.
We must fight them as they fight us. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I apologise that women had to witness this today, but in our lands, our women have to see the same. You people will never be safe. Remove your governments. They don't care about you.
And joining us now from Washington, Carl Cameron and the now very famous James Rosen. We'll get to your situation in a minute, Rosen, but this is pretty bizarre what's going on in London. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I just got off the phone a short while ago, Bill, with the British Embassy here in Washington. They told me flat out, we are not calling this a terrorism event just yet, but they caution this is still an unfolding investigation. The Prime Minister, David Cameron, is returning early from a trip to France so that tomorrow he can chair what's called the Cabinet Office Briefing Room, COBRA, sort of the equivalent of our National Security Council on this. What you had is this man in the video with his bloody hands, his meat cleaver and his knife, and another man, apparently armed also with a gun, attacking the figure that you see in the screen there, who was apparently a military official or a military personnel of some kind of serviceman, just a few blocks from a barracks in the Woolwich section of London, southeast London. And then the same camera then captured the two assailants, or suspected assailants, the two guys they suspect of having attacked that guy and perhaps beheading him, who were then themselves shot by armed British police. Those two characters are now in British hospitals, and they're taking it very seriously. It could potentially be a terrorist attack. You heard the remarks of the gentleman on screen, but so far they're not formally labeling it that, Bill.
All right. Well, there are Islamic extremists. We know that. And whether you call it terror or not, it was no reason to kill that poor man. All right. Now, in the Benghazi situation, finally, and I need you to go real quick on this one, Rosen, the FBI has isolated 5 suspects.
Well, law enforcement and military officials tell Fox News the figure is much higher, as many as 18 suspects, some of whom we've been tracking since October. There is a problem in that the security situation in Benghazi is still very dire. The FBI, we are told, has not been there in quite a while. We could probably take these people out with military assets, but it's the preference of the Obama administration to capture them and try them in a certain way. And so it's taking a long time. And I'm told that that's one of the reasons why.
But they have the guys that they think did it, killed the American ambassador, 3 other. It's just getting them now that is the problem. Okay.
Well, they think that these were involved. We're told 60 people stormed that compound on 9/11. We're talking about 18 suspects right now.
All right. Now, Cameron, a guy in Florida, in Central Florida, shot by the FBI. It was a link to the Boston bombing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, 27-year-old Ibrahim Tadashev, a Chechen who was living legally in Boston, then moved to Florida, was being questioned late last night and early this morning by a pair of Massachusetts state troopers and the FBI in Orlando about his friendship with the dead Boston bomber Tamerlan Tsarnaev. Tadashev had been questioned before and was not a direct suspect in the Boston bombing, but he and Tsarnaev knew one another in Boston through martial arts, and both were suspected in a triple murder 2 years ago on September 11th, in which Tsarnaev knew one of the victims. Late last night, investigators thought Tadashev was ready to actually sign a statement admitting he and Tsarnaev's role in that triple murder, but Tadashev apparently flew off the handle in rage, pulled a knife, lunged at one of the state troopers, and started stabbing him until an FBI agent who was on the scene actually shot and killed Tadashev.
All right, this triple murder had a drug overtone to it. There was a lot of drug, pot, and stuff like that involved with it.
Oh, absolutely.
North of it. Okay, now I got to get back to Rosen. So, Rosen, when are you going to jail? Because we're taking up the collection for the bail now, and we got to see when are you going to jail?
Well, I'm touched by your sentiments, but that's about all I would say.
Okay, I know that Fox News and your attorneys have told you that not to talk about it. But this has got to be harrowing, and your parents are involved now, and their phone lines and stuff like this. So anyway, we just want to tell the audience that Rosen's okay. We're protecting him, getting all the support you need, right?
I feel good about where I am.
All right. Just let me ask you one thing. Are you surprised this whole thing came down this way?
The only thing I really feel comfortable saying, Bill, is that which was included in Shannon Bream's report on Special Report with Bret Baier on Monday, which was a quote from me, which was to the effect that as a reporter, I will always honor the confidentiality of my dealings with all of my sources.
Yeah, sure. And
That's
if you
it.
don't do that, you're no longer a reporter, and you're one of the best. So, Rosen, we got you back, and Cameron's got your front, so you're in good shape, man. And you let us know how this goes. It's going to be an interesting book you're going to have someday. Plenty more ahead as the Factor moves along this evening.